Hi guys, welcome to another one of our reviews. I'm the Worm, this is the Proton. Today we're going to be doing a review of a crazy dripper that we received free of charge from VapeGear, obviously Keith and Kirsty. But this will not affect our review in any way, shape or form.
Indeed. Today I think we may have annoyed Keith and Kirsty because they have sent us this. The IGO W3. This is new from UD, newish from UD, and it is a quad or dual coil dripping out of my lower RDA. 22mm, awesome source, but you'll see in the close up. Right guys, little close up of the IGO W3. As you can see, it's a bit of a manic thing going on here. We're going to pull it apart and we'll start with the top cap probably. Okay, start with the top cap. Right at the top, 510 drip tip in there, lovely stuff. You've got a chamber reduction going on in there, so in actual fact, although it looks like you're sort of at the top, you're not. Your chamber actually finishes around about here. Okay, where my finger is, and then you've got a bit that's inset that takes it way even more. So despite the fact that this is actually pretty big, the chamber's not particularly massive. Around the top you've got this kind of, I don't know what you'd call that, but that's what it is. It's kind of like
wiggly diggly.
Wiggly diggly, yeah. Patrick Swayze clay making pots, that's what I'm saying. UD IGO W3 laser action there. It's very hard to see, especially with how polished this this cap is, but it is there if you wanted to see it. Some people hate them, some people love the fact it's logoed. It's really a personal preference thing. And then going around the edge you have got well, a lot of holes. You've got, if you want to take it from here, you've got your open, your sort of semi-closed, and your open, and then your open, semi-closed, and then your open. So you've got 4 fully open, and 2, which are two sort of 1.2mm holes. So it's going to equate to quite a loose draw when using both. Obviously now to the interesting part. There's not really much more to say about the cap. Oh dear Christ! Here we go. This is the deck. Alright, we'll start with the non-obvious stuff first of all. 510 connection, centre pin sticking out just enough to make contact and everything. I'll stoke it on. Double O-ring affair. Unlike the L, the W, I haven't had any issues with these O-rings sort of uncut, like sort of slacking off on the top one in particular and then catching. They've gone straight on first time every time with this. And then around the edge you've got your air paths, which are obviously shaped in the same way that the top cap is. You've got your air paths in there, you've got 4 of them around here, and obviously as you can see from what's going on in there, what this is designed for, we're talking quad coils. Your minimum on this is a dual coil, which is what these 2 are for. So basically that there would be dual coil on the 2 air holes, also there, dual coil on 2 air holes, that there is a quad. So your quad coil, quad air holes, and it's a big old open air draw. It's where's my screwdriver gone? There we go, you should do. It's a fairly simple system. I'm going to try and get in as close as possible. That middle post there, as we go round, you've actually got 4 holes in it. Okay, so it has got 4 holes, and then your negatives have got your your negative holes. I mean, there's 2 in either one, but the possibilities with this are ridiculous. I mean, I don't even know what time I'm going to set up, and before you get your hopes up, guys, it's not happening on camera. But obviously, positive in the middle, negatives on the outside. There's not a great deal more we can go into in this, to be honest with you. I mean, once you've got your build on, you decide what build you're putting in, and then line up your air holes, and that is away. This is not going to be made for seriously low resistance wires. If you're quadding this, you don't want to be using seriously low resistance wires because you've got 4 coils. I mean, bear in mind, guys, when you run in a single coil, 1 ohm coil equals 1 ohm coil. When you're running dual, 2 1 ohms equals half an ohm. So when you're running a quad, 4 1 ohms is going to equal 2.5 ohms. So if you wanted a 1 ohm coil in this, you're looking at 4 ohm coils. Just to give you an idea of sort of the maths you're working with here, it's going to be intense to say the least. So I think what we're going to do is have a little rewick, and then we'll come back on camera just briefly to show you what's happening inside it. If we can get it working, that is. Obviously we're going to go for the quad just because why wouldn't we? It's designed to do that. It's a very simple through the post system with all of the stuff, guys. So the coil placement itself is familiar. The build is not so much. So yeah, we're going to go and have a little rewick and come back probably in about 3.5 hours time and swear at you. Right guys, I told you I'd come back and show you what was going on with the quad. There you go, that is the quad coil in there. Not cotton do anything yet, but give it a little and there you go. That's what you got, 4 coils. Alright, I'll get it to sort of angle in. That's what we've got. Alright, we've gone vertical purely because getting them in front of the air holes, if you don't, it's a bit more difficult. So we've gone vertical, and I'm calling this the swastika coil. So that's what it is, coming up to us.
Right guys, that was the up close and the craziness of the IGO W3. Yeah, it's a crazy little build in there. I mean, if you go onto the site, you've actually got under their actual description of this, it actually says, I'm going to read this now, use at your own risk. 4 coils sounds very dodgy to me. Please check your battery and amperage. Please don't ask me how. I mean, that's just classic Keith and Kirsty there. It's nice to have a little bit of humour wrapped into your site. So,
indeed. Right, a few of the particulars, guys, that you haven't seen in the close-up. Price, $15.99, 22mm dripper, lovely. As we said, they've got 510 connected, all that kind of hoo-ha. Right, you've got single and dual coil. I know that on the website it says here 3 air holes. There's actually 4 air holes or 2 air holes. You've got a choice of either. When it comes to when you've got any of them concoctions, though, you can turn it and cut half of them off. So if full open, well, let's just start breathing. If that was too airy for you on a quad build, you could then lock it off, or on a dual you could lock it off. Stainless steel doesn't specify what, looks like 301 or 304. Height 30mm, width 22mm, weight 45 grams, yep. Maximum current 7.5 amps, and a very small bit of wick and wire is included, and spares and that kind of stuff. Now, by what it says by maximum current, I don't know whether that's from supplier, because if the maximum you can put in this is 7.5 amps, well, no. I mean,
you're gonna get no vapor.
You get, if you've got dual core 7.5 amps, yeah, maybe. But on I mean, what's 7.5 amps? Let's do some quick math. Roughly around 0.6, 0.7 ohms. I suppose you could. It's 4 2-ohm coils, but it's not going to perform worthy of a quad core, I wouldn't say anyway. There you go. You see in the close-up, guys, exactly what you've got to live with. Unfortunately, the setup can't really be any easier than it is, and it's a bitch as it is. You've got your 4 holes in your centre, or your 2 straight throughs in your centre post, which means you are going to be restricted to them really low resistance wires. But if you're quadding, you don't want really low resistance wires. I think what we should do, though, guys, just purely because it says please check your batteries and your amperage. Don't ask me how to do that. What I'm going to do, what we'll do is very quickly go over how you're going to do that. All right. What you need to do is calculate resistance of your build. If you haven't got something to check your resistance, then you need something to check your resistance. It's as simple as that, guys. Once you've checked your build, you can go onto ohmslawcalculator.com, alright, and enter in there what you want. Your batteries will be 3.7 volts. It asks for your batteries, your amperage, your resistance. I can't remember what the last one is. All you need to worry about is power, which is your battery, and your resistance. Okay, power will be 3.7 volts, that's what these batteries are rated as, and then your resistance. Press calculate, and it will then fill up the other 2 bars, which will be power's the bottom one, and amperage. And that will tell you how much amp drain is happening on them batteries, and the total in watts is happening. What you need to do is make sure your batteries are capable of handling that amperage. Okay, so I would honestly recommend nothing other than the 30 amps for these. Sony 30 amps is what we're running. Keith and Kirsty sell eFest 30 amps. Get yourself something if you're going to build this setup. If nothing else, they hit harder under load, so therefore you're going to be able to power these quads, even if you are running them higher than we are, sensibly. Okay, that's how you check your wingle dingles. So yeah, just keep in mind, guys, you're going to need to do that. Right, the close-up, the dripper itself, I think it's funky. It's kind of a bit different looking. It's kind of, I don't know how to describe that, but it is what it is. Not entirely sure as to the reason of this extra bit on top here when the chamber actually aims lower, but I'm guessing it's for looks. There you go.
To be honest, I think the chunk of metal might be to maybe stop the heat transferring so quickly.
Very possibly, yeah, very possibly, and same for the design there as well.
Yeah, so you could put a nice drip tip in there and hopefully not burn your mouth off when you're
running low ohm coils.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, we've got what, probably about 0.2, maybe a 0.25 in there.
Yeah, it's a low build.
Without that big chunk of metal, I can imagine that drip tip's going to get hot quickly.
Yeah, this is probably about 0.3, I think.
Yeah, so that drip tip will get pretty hot quickly. And we have noticed in this, it doesn't seem to heat up as quickly as you'd think it would. Probably because that massive amount of metal, obviously heat's taking a lot longer to actually transfer through it. So
indeed. Right, this is the 4th or 5th time I've built this. This is the best build I've had in this so far. You see what it looked like on camera. It's a pain in the arse to build. what I did, because I didn't look on camera, is round the drill bit, and I had, if this is your drill bit, one might come off this way and one might come off directly towards you, this become your positive, this become your negative. It's very, very difficult in order to do this build, guys. If you're an advanced builder, you're still going to get pissed off. If you're a novice, they sell the S, the L, the F. Get something, the W4, get something that's going to step you up to this game, because to be honest, even I, like, even I say even
was it the first time you did it here when I was here with the 32? He done
30, that was 30.
Oh, well, that was 30, okay. He done one with 30 gauge, and he sat here, I swear, no down, 25 minutes at least, putting these coils in, finally got them all in, all where he wanted them to be, fired it, one popped. And it became a tray coil instead of a quad coil, and it didn't ruin the build, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. No. So, I mean, it's going to frustrate you to no end, especially if you've just started recoiling. I would not push this device just yet.
I mean, even in the first build, I still tried to make it fairly large using 30 gauge, so 0.25. This will pop coils very quickly. Your negatives will cut coils if you overscrew them too tight. It's a very, very fiddly, very, very difficult device to get your heads around. You may have noticed in the close-up, the middle positive screw has got a slight discoloration. That's purely because of the amount of heat that can go through this thing. That's what happened when I built this second or third time. I was trying to pulse coils and getting them all to light even, and just doing that, well, it drained a full 2000 mAh Sony battery in about half an hour. So yeah, this design, this dripper is not for any practical use. It is for nothing other than chasing clouds. Even with a dual core setup, your setup's still not ideal. It's a pain in the bum. This has actually come at a good time, this dripper though, because we've just done the Trident, the Helios, the Omega clones, and they're all cloud drippers. So this sits in bracket with them. Not a bad job at all. You want to cover?
No, I think we've pretty much gone through everything now. I mean,
there'll be more that comes up. I like that for a second.
Oh, there'll be things that come out from like actually using the device and that. But I think the only thing to do now is Miss Brown's going to throw a few clouds at you, and then I'll throw a few clouds at you, and then we'll go into our list that we do on like looks and all that, as you should no doubt expect from us these days. Is it any dripping?
Yes, it definitely needs dripping. I won't go too mad though. Guys, very quickly, how I've got the cotton set up in there, so I didn't show you that. What I did was with the coils, pushed it down, and now what I started doing was basically push it through the coil, so I had a little bit underneath and a little bit over the top, and I tucked the bit underneath behind, and I tucked the bit over the top on this side, so it kind of sat either side of the coil. Did that all the way around. All four coils were lovely, lovely and joined together, but it didn't seem to vape that well. What I've now done, excuse the hair, is left a bit underneath, and all four pieces are now coming up from the coil and joining over the centre of the positive post. That is eradicating any chance of hot legging. It wasn't happening, but it means it's eradicated now. And also, it's allowing the juice to be absorbed straight into that cotton and feed it down, because this is burning juice at an incredible rate. It ain't a serious dripper, guys. If you want something that's going to be, oh, this is a 10 for flavour and all that. I mean, the flavour's pretty good. We'll get into that, but it's not. That's not what this is designed for, and you're just going to have to come to terms with that, guys. It's a ridiculous thing, isn't it?
It's good.
Right. We'll go to a 5-point hitter, because I think us doing that is going to lead us into little bits and bobs along the way.
Yeah, little niggles that we probably forgot. Looks.
Looks for me. To be honest, anything I stick on this ashtray recently is banging. So on that, I'm still laughing. That's a banging little setup. To be honest with you, looks in general, polished, stainless steel, kind of funky, a bit different like all this new UD stuff is. I'm going to give it a 9 for look. I think it's an acquired taste, and I also think it looks better in your hand than it does on the pictures. But looks is going to get a 9 for me. Sorry guys, I need a bit of tissue because worm's over dripped.
A little bit. I don't usually like this sort of style, but because it's one of those drippers that it's not really about style, this is about crazy. And for crazy looks, I think it's a 10. Just because of like it's a quad coil, crazy airflow setup, crazy coil setup. They've had to give it a crazy design just to emphasise how crazy this thing is. So on that scale, a 10 on a crazy scale. For me personally, probably about an 8. It's not horrible. I mean, the amount of holes you got in there, the amount of Swiss cheese holes you got in there, just takes your eye away from the amount of ribs there are on it. So your eye always goes straight to the hole on that one, because they're not holes, they're slits in it, and we're chasing this cloud here. Yeah, so about an 8 for me on personal looks.
I just wanted to quickly, that's the build I've got, okay, so the cotton's coming up, alright, and obviously then you're getting a lot of stuff going on.
Obviously as that airflow goes through, it's pulling the vapour out of that cotton as well, so it doesn't look so much when you actually fire it there, but when you actually...
You've seen it. Seen it. Right, usability. Right, okay. I am so glad that I mic record this, because now from whenever I want to use this again, all I've got to do is replace cotton. This burns juice at a very, very big rate, and it's going to crud them cores up very quickly, so even still I'd be lucky to go through more than 4 sets of wick in this before I need to rip that build out again. On a dual it's not going to be quite as bad, but the dual build's still a pain in the arse. For a novice user, none. Simple as that. If you're coming off a Clearos, do not look at this at all. Go, like, end the review now, because trust me, you do not want this in your life. For a K-Fun user, for example, someone's using K-Funs and a few RDAs, maybe tweaked with a little bit of dual coiling, IGO W3, something like that. 3 at best. It's a 3 if you're savvy. For a very advanced builder, and I'm not being funny, I do some fucking crazy builds. I've got, at the minute in my Helios, I've got a quad coil that's actually 2 coils split into 2 in a V shape, cotton, like Nano Dragon single, dual, triple coils going on in there. It's not even, I've called it the V twin, but that's a crazy build. A lot of the guys on our Facebook will do crazy builds. I've seen someone stick 8 coils in this, okay, so basically 2 coils per coil. For a very advanced builder, this is still frustrating. This is still going to be a monumental pain in your batty, and you're still going to get the right raving hump with it. So for that reason, it's going to get a 5 for... I can't even justify a 5. I can't. I'm sorry. For a K-Fun user, it's a 1. For an advanced builder, it's a 3. It is a pain in the arse to build. It is. It's that simple.
Done?
Yes.
Yeah, I got to agree on a lot of these marks. If you're a novice, go and find a single core dripper. The IGO S, we've previously just done a review on that from VapeGear. Go and have a look at that. That is where you want to start those sort of builds. For like your standard like rebuildables builder, yeah, 1. For your advanced builder, I'm going to say 3. If you're one of these super builders out there that can just whack in a coil no matter what device it is and it always works, 4. I mean, just the fact that you've got to be so careful is on the UD devices in general, it seems to be on your negatives, you need to be careful on over tightening and that. A slight over tighten on that and it's chopping your wire and it's falling to bits when you're testing your coils and putting them left and right and centre just to get rid of the hot spots and that. It's going to pop coils, it's going to frustrate. It's going to be one of those devices you pick up, you play with for half hour, you set it down in the corner for like a week, you come back, you try it again, and it could be like 6 months before you get a super build out of this. I mean, we're quite lucky we've got one going on, Mr. Brown's fifth attempt.
The others were vapeable, but not anywhere near what they should be.
I'm not this. Not as it's performing now. I mean, once you get a good setup in this, it's an amazing dripper, it really is.
I didn't point out in the close-up that basically, after saying to you I'm not doing a rewick on camera, because it's just never, it's not now, it's never happening. I don't care how much you want one, alright? But after saying that, I sat down and I woosah'd, okay? I then put on some hardcore hip-hop to calm me down, and I sat there, and I'm not joking, the set is nearly complete. About 45 to 50 minutes of calm tranquility to rewick this dripper, okay? I'm not saying I'm the best builder in the world, I'm far from it. I'm not saying I'm the most patient person in the world, because I'm definitely far from
No,
that.
he's not.
But I am a capable rebuilder, and this still is annoying. It is. If you like a challenge, perfect. But it's a big build. It is a big build.
Yeah, just come into this preparing to be frustrated a lot. Maintenance.
It's a dripper, innit? I mean, at the end of the day, you got 2 parts. Alright, you got to wash them out, and then you've got to do it all again. Alright, that's part of kind of usability / maintenance. Maintaining this once the coils are in there, It depends on the coils you're using. It depends on so much as it does with everything else. But because you've got 4 coils working in conjunction, it's maintenance in general is a 10 because it's a dripper. It's just wash it out and then recotton it. But you've got to recotton 4 coils. I'm so glad this is micro coils, guys. With these coils, I had to wrap them, crimp them, flame them, get them all exactly right before sticking them in the device, and then was fortunate enough to only have to tweak very fractionally, just a little nudge on 1 coil. If you've dual coiled and you've got that stage where this one's light and fine, and then this one you move it slightly, and now this one's much hotter than this, then this becomes hotter. If that happens in this device, you will spend a battery on it. You will probably still not have resolved it completely, and the longer it takes, the more frustrated you're going to get, which reduces the chances of you getting there at all. So for that part of it, it's getting a 1. But the maintenance in general for cleaning and stuff is a 10.
Yeah, there's not really much else to say on that one. For the actual maintaining the actual device itself, like keeping it clean and that, it's always a 10 on these strippers. It's 2 parts except for the 5 screws you've got, obviously, but you should be tightening them down before you're washing them, or at least making them sure they're not ready to fall out on you. But yeah, the fact that like once you've got to that stage where you've got to recoil and you're washing it out and you've got to recoil it, you're going to dread it every time. It's not something you're going to come back to and go, yeah, I've got to rip my IGO W3. It's just going to be like, oh God, set aside my weekend and get some, I don't know, some tranquilizers on the go. Because you may be raging a little bit.
Indeed. Flavour and vapour? Is it me first?
Yeah.
Me first. Flavour, it's a pointless task giving this a mark for flavour for a usable device in terms of I would use this every day and rate it against flavour against the Zeus, the A7, the IGO L, the IGO S. It's not about that for this. The flavour could be very good off this, to be honest with you. I mean, if I locked the air hole off, if I wasn't running a ridiculously low build like I am, then yeah, I'm pretty sure flavour could hit 9s and 10s. Because you've got the adjustable airflow, the flavour's adjustable, so it's going to be as good as the build you can put in it with the relevant airflow, so it could be 10s. But for what I'm using it for, what it will only ever be used for, which is chasing clouds, you don't get much flavour when you're chasing clouds. I've got to say, for a cloud chasing dripper, this is an 8 for flavour. But that in itself is a pointless statement, because you don't chase clouds for flavour, you chase them for the appearance. So flavour's kind of like a mute point at this
And to be honest, very often when we're chasing clouds, we use a very mild flavour anyway, because you don't want a flavour through it.
Last thing you want is an intense flavour or high nicotine strength. Last thing.
So yeah, I'm going to agree that there's no point in giving this a flavour mark, really. It's just it is a pointless task, and for cloud chasing it does actually come through quite nice. It's the juice he's got in there is actually quite strong juice, but it's been diluted down and it's still coming through quite strong. It's not overbearing by any means. I think that's actually just about as high as you want to go on the flavour scale on that one, and I reckon it is about an A. But amount of vapour, do we need to give it a mark?
Well, I reckon you could probably win Totally Wicked beard competition with it. Vapour 10, easily 10 plus. Nick high a little bit, 2 mg strength of juice, my dear God. Vapour's at 10. It's as much vapour as you're ever likely to get from a device, realistically. I've got a dual core, we did the review on the Omega recently. That will produce plumes and plumes of vapour. This will outdo it, not by twice as much, because you've got twice the amount of cores. It's not twice as much, but this will definitely outdo it for vapour. So yeah, vapour's as high as rated as I can give, which is a 10, and it's higher than any other device we've tested.
Yeah, it's beat anything we've got so far. I mean, don't go wrong that there are people out there who have done like stupid things with like car batteries and stuff, and obviously they get crazy amounts, but off a standard 30 amp battery on a quad coil, I don't see much beating this at the moment. There's no real other quad coil devices out there. I mean, I know you can quad coil, dual coil devices and that, and they do produce plumes, but because of the airflow you've got on this one, it's going to outdo it. This is just a good all-round cloud chasing device that's going to annoy you.
Indeed, definitely. Overall, do you want to go first or shall I?
Go on.
Overall for me, price is good. The build is ridiculous. The maintenance of that build is ridiculous. Having to think about redoing that build is ridiculous. Flavour for what it's really intended for is not going to be. You're not going to use it for flavour. Flavour is kind of a moot point. Vapour's immense. It looks quirky. It's built well. Right, for everyone out there, this is going to be low overall. It is. For me personally, I love it. I do. I despise it. You know, it's one of them, you it's like forbidden fruit for me. I want it so bad, but I hate it. It's one of them, I love to hate this thing. I look at it and I think, you fucking thing. Yeah. And then I think, but look at the clouds. Look at them. I mean, I am a cloud chaser. If you remember the Facebook group, you will see that I'm a cloud chaser, because regularly myself and a few of the other guys on there will sit there in a room that you can't see 5 foot in front of you because you've been chasing clouds in it, and we'll post videos. Everything screams, this is not a device really that should even be on the market because it's pointless. I can't help but love it. I can't. If you're like me and you are ridiculous, you like things that are different, because there ain't bugger out there like this. The only thing that's, off the top of my head, the only thing that's in contention with this, or could be in contention with this, would be a Helios. If they drilled out more holes in that Helios, on the opposites you had 4 airflows, and you give yourself 6 adjustments on the ring, so you can have dual or quad, that would then be in contention with this, and the build would be easier. They haven't done that. That doesn't exist. This is the only thing like it, and I can only think of one other thing that I could make like it with some serious modifications. So yeah, I ain't recommending this at all in any way, shape or form, but I do love it.
Yeah, overall, your standard drippers out and your standard rebuilders, no, just go and play with the IGO S. Go and buy yourself another dripper. I'd even recommend the pain in the arse Genesis style tanks they've got out there over this, because even that's going to be more forgiving than this thing. But I'm going to kind of disagree a little bit. For the cloud chasers out there that are willing to put the effort in to get this device to work, you are going to love it, and for them it's going to be a 10. It is. Once you get this working and you finally get that perfect setup and the coils don't pop when you put it in, or the negative doesn't come loose where you've over tightened it, when you've finally got that set up in there, you are going to be fogging out a room, and you're going to love every minute of it, and it's going to be money well spent. But for any other rebuilder out there, stick to some dual coils or something else.
I am one of them people. I still wouldn't give it a 10. I couldn't give it a 10. I think, guys, a comment on this. I mean, there's a few, Gaz, Neil, Graham, and the other Gaz. I know a few of you are like me, and you will like this because of its stupidness. But I don't. For me, it can't ever be a 10 purely because of how realistically unusable it is. Let's not sugarcoat bullshit.
I'm saying it's going to be a 10 once you've got that build in.
This right now for me is a 10.
There you go.
I put this down in an hour's time after I've raped them coils, change the wick, and that's then a 1 again for me.
Yeah.
It's one of them, you're going to love it and then you're going to completely detest it.
But that's what I'm saying. You're like, once you get that build in there, it's going to be your cloud chasing device until you have to change those coils. I mean, the cotton, yes, it's going to be a little bit of tweaking, but it won't be so bad as actually recoiling the whole device. It probably about 3.
Recottoning it, all I did was just tuck it through and then use some tweezers to put it through. That in itself wasn't particularly difficult, but it's only purely because them coils aren't going to, especially since chances are you're going to be using 100% VG juice with this, aren't you?
Yes.
Or as close to. So chances are them coils are going to cut up really quickly and you have to replace them really quickly. So the recottoning itself, no, it's not a big deal, but the actual maintenance of them micro coils is much lower than it would be on a single or a dual micro. Yeah,
definitely. So, but yeah, it's kind of one of those, you've got to take the bad with the good, basically.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One, you are going to get a lot more bad than you are going to get good with this when you buy this. But once you get that cloud chasing device working, like Mr. Proton has, you're going to be one happy chappy for a couple of days.
One happy chappy. Indeed. Oh, right.
Or chapette.
Or chapette, yeah, let's not be sexist.
Yeah.
You women can be as miserable as I am when I build this if you want to be. Right, I mean, it's a bit of a jokey device, it's very quirky, there's nothing out there like it. Guys, if you look at the quad core setup and go, I'm going to hate that, but I've got to do it, then you're going to be one of the people that sits there like me, as Will just pointed out, you're going to be livid 95% of the time, but that 5%, like now, when it's doing what it should be doing, you're going to get yourself on Facebook and post the biggest cloud of your life.
He's grinning over it slightly.
I am. You can see it. You can see it, guys. It's not that. I hate it. I love it. It's one of them ones.
You hate it with a smile on your face.
Yeah, you always do, don't you? You know, everyone's got something out there like this. Even already in your build, even if it was your first dripper, and you think, oh, I just fixed your video. Every time you try rebuilding it, one day you stuck a coil in it, your first rebuildable, and you went, oh my dear Christ. It's not for the same reason. This is for purely for the I want to buy monumental clouds reason. But nevertheless, if you're like me, you probably are gonna find an hour or two every week where you really enjoy this. There you go. I think we're pretty much done there. All right. Obviously, a big thank you to Keith & Kirsty for sending this down to us, and a big apology if we pissed you off because you sent this down to us. No, obviously, a big thank you to Keith & Kirsty at VapeGear. Guys, be safe. Make sure that this is not available in 350 or 500 mode. Then batteries will not cope with it. 650, 30 amps, 35 amps are coming as well, guys. We've heard this. So yeah, make sure your batteries are rated, and obviously be safe. But for those of you out there, you're going to really enjoy it. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Mr. Proton. This has been The Worm. See you soon.